Miss, do you mind not doing that? Miss, madam, miss, don't, it's not a toy, it's, no one ever listens to me, it's like being married. Anyway, hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Simon and you are watching Walking Talking Gardeners. And in this video I'm going to be telling you about my five mistakes that you should never do when it comes to growing and planting magnolias. Now, the first mistake is this, and I see it everywhere, and it's not just your fault for not doing your research, it's also the retailer's fault for not actually giving you out the information that you need in order to make your purchase. The problem is this. Magnolias are a group of large growing trees. Now there are a few small growing trees in there, but on the whole these are huge massive trees, and you will consistently find as you drive around the suburbs of the south of England these huge enormous magnolias planted in the front of people's gardens, and they pretty much take over the whole of the area, which means once they're in leaf, unless you've got a grandiflora that's evergreen, once they're in leaf they're going to cast a load of shade, and not an awful lot is going to grow underneath it, and plus it's going to take up pretty much the whole the whole area. So they are too big. They are in most cases way too big to plant in your typical suburban garden. You need to grow smaller varieties. Now in a minute I'm just going to give you a couple of suggestions for some excellent small growing magnolias, but some of these plants, I mean, even if you just go for the basic Sulangiana, you're gonna get, what do we see around here? You're probably seeing like 6, 7, 8 meter tall plants. It's way too big. It's a big mistake. You're ruining the look of your house, your garden, and any opportunity to grow some interesting plants underneath it. So don't do it. Do your research first. Check the ultimate heights of these plants before you start putting them in your tiny little front garden or back garden. It's okay if you're like Elon Musk or King Charles. Then you've got the space to accommodate them, and they are extremely handsome plants. So mistake number 1, check your overall sizes. Don't plant a plant that's going to get way too big for the area you've chosen to plant it in. Don't let me tell you again. So I've got 4, possibly 5 recommendations for you for some small growing magnolias that get to between about 2 and 3 meters tall. First one is Magnolia laevifolia, Gal's favourite, and particularly like that one because that is an evergreen plant, so you get that kind of effect of a grandiflora without the absolutely massive size of it. Then you've got Liliiflora nigra, which I like that one. The richness and the darkness, it does have that kind of tulipy can't say the word now, Sulangiana shaped flower, but it's the darkness of it really is quite striking. You've got Magnolia lobneri Leonard Messel, and this one is a particularly good choice because it is known to be lime tolerant, where the majority of your magnolias will require neutral to acidic soil. That one you can plant in slightly alkaline and it will be absolutely fine. And probably the last one, the last 2, are the stellatas. Again, only grow to about 2 meters tall. You've got the lovely pure white flowers that come out in spring, but there's a really lovely selection of that called Royal Star, where the buds open up sort of like pinky, a dark pink, and then the flowers as they open up they turn to white. So that's 4, 5 really good choices if you want to specifically grow a small magnolia in your garden. So now you don't have to do the research because I've already told you the answer.
Mistake number 2. Provide the right soil conditions.
Yes, indeed. It's fairly common knowledge in the horticultural industry that you plant magnolias in a slightly acidic soil or compost. Now, as we touched on earlier with that lobneri Leonard Messel, there are some species and cultivars out there that will tolerate slightly alkaline conditions, and you can check which one's yours by going onto the Royal Horticultural Society's website and just checking through the varieties. Now, you could, if you don't know what acidity or pH your soil is, you can always buy yourself a soil tester, but let's be honest with you, if you've got people successfully growing azaleas, camellias, magnolias, rhododendrons in your area, then chances are it's slightly acidic. But if you want to just be on the safe side, then when you dig out the hole to put your plant in, backfill it and mix in with an acidic compost like your ericaceous compost. And furthermore, moving forwards, if you are starting to find some issues with it, because the problem when you're planting magnolias in a alkaline soil, when they prefer to, those species and cultivars that prefer to be in an acidic soil, you start to get yellowing of the leaves, and that's because under alkaline condition the plant struggles to take in magnesium and iron, and it needs those two elements in order to produce the chlorophyll pigment, which is green. So if it's struggling to produce a green pigment in the chlorophyll, then the leaves will start to go yellowish, which is the underlying carotenoid and anthocyanin pigments. There's a lot of words coming out here. You don't need to worry about that too much. Just worry about the fact that if in doubt, mix in some ericaceous compost in your plant hole, and moving forwards you can feed your plant with an ericaceous or acidic fertilizer such as Miracle Grow's Miracid. There you go. But like I say, if you want to just check exactly your particular variety, if you go into the Royal Horticultural Society's website, load in the name of your plant, and it will bring up the soil conditions that it will require. So there you go. Easily sorted. Well done. Now, if you are finding the information in this video useful, or perhaps just mildly amusing and you'd like to pass it on, then by all means press the like button. It supports this channel immensely and helps us do what we do. Don't forget, you can also click onto the subscription button. Subscription is absolutely free, and you can unsubscribe at any time. It doesn't cost you anything, and if you want to be notified whenever we publish a new video, then all you need to do is click on that notification bell. Anyway, let's continue to find out what old Boilbelt has to say.
Mistake number 3. Always purchase when in bloom.
Ah, yes. Gone are the days when you could trust the horticultural industry to actually put the right label on the right plant. So much of our stuff now comes through from Holland, comes through from North Africa. A lot of the big nurseries that we used to have in the UK, they can't compete, and subsequently they've all gone bust. So you now have these huge industrial complexes where, you know, you even have like little robots and computers with AI doing all the propagation. So you have this mass industry of propagation of plants. So it's not surprising, and I know we've touched on this a few times in previous videos, it's very easy to buy plants, have one particular label on it telling you what it is. You buy it, take it home, and it grows, and what a surprise, you've bought something different. Happens all the time. So when it comes to growing something a little bit pricey, magnolias, they're not the cheapest things because a lot of them are grafted, then it's the best policy is to buy them when they're in flower, and then you absolutely know that that is the plant it is, because once it's flowered once in one colour, it's going to be like that forever. It doesn't change as the years pass by. So it's a great recommendation, especially at this time of year when you go into places like Lidl and Aldi and Tesco's and what have you, and they've got trolleys full of sticks with pretty colourful labels on it, and you're thinking, oh, I'll buy a white one, I'll buy a pink one, I'll buy a purple one, and you get it home, and I wouldn't like to stick a percentage of the amount of times you get labelling errors, but 10-20%. It's surprisingly high. So if you're spending quite a lot of money, then my recommendation to you is to buy your magnolias when that magnolia is in flower, and then you know that colour form is guaranteed.
Mistake number 4. Plant in a sheltered position.
Ooh, yeah, this one happens quite a lot. Now, these are very early flowering plants, and if you look at the native plants in the UK, they're not in leaf, but they're not doing anything at all, because those plants, they know that we can suffer from late frost at this time of the year. And the trouble is, magnolias, I mean, they're from Asia. You get some in America. They're not a European plant, and as such, they respond to the day lengths and day temperatures in order to flower. But it's a time of year when these are big, lovely, delicate blooms, and you get a cold frost on them, they're ruined, they've gone brown, they fall off, and your display is absolutely destroyed. So my advice to you, and a mistake that I do see a lot of people making, is plant your magnolia in a sheltered position. Now you could plant it against the protection of a wall, underneath a tree, out of somewhere where it's out of strong winds. But if you can plant it somewhere protected, then it will mitigate a lot of the problems that you'll get with our English weather and our stupid late frost, because there's nothing worse than seeing a magnificent specimen just opening up like that, and then you get one hard frost and ruined. Oh, it sort of breaks the heart when you see that one. Heart, not art. That's a bit cockney. Heart, breaks the heart.
Mistake number 5. Cutting at the wrong time of year.
Yes, another common problem that I see quite a lot. With magnolias, they flower on the previous season's wood. So come the spring, you're going to get those flower buds forming on all that old wood. So if you start cutting into that wood, I don't know, you might want to do it over the winter, or maybe even early spring, because you might not recognize that some of the buds that are coming off the stem are flower buds and not leaf buds. And all you'll be doing is just removing that display from the plant. Not only because, as I said in that first mistake, these get very big, and you do see a lot of specimens absolutely hacked apart, absolutely ruined. So I know people like to cut them and cut them back hard. You're doing two things here. You are removing the flowering wood from the previous year, so you're not going to get a display wherever you've cut it. And secondly, you're going to misshapen that plant something awful. It should be a criminal act. So pruning, they will take a hard pruning. This is a very resilient plant, so they will take being absolutely mullered with a saw. But like I say, it will ruin the shape, and once you've ruined the shape of magnolia, you're not going to get that back. It's going to be awful until the end of its life. And again, if it's even just a light pruning, you're going to be removing those the wood that's got the flowering buds on it. So two things: if you want to prune it, you prune immediately after flowering. And if you want to hack it hard, then my suggestion is you shouldn't have bought it in the wrong place. It was too big. Going back to what I said earlier. Anyway, so that's my 5 mistakes to avoid when growing and planting magnolia plants. I'm sure there's a few others out there, and if I haven't mentioned them already in this rant, then you can put that in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye. Right, now, just before you go, if you want to see more content, more behind the scenes stuff, and images that I've taken of some weird freaky plants over the years, then you're in luck, because we've created an Instagram page. So you can find the link in our description. You can find the link on our main page, and if I'm clever enough, I might be able to get a link somewhere up there. Anyway, thank you for watching, and if you want to see more YouTube stuff, then check out this video here. That's quite a good one. And if it doesn't float your boat, then another one right there. And enjoy these while I've still got the strength, imagination and aptitude to make them. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.